Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. We are studying the fundamentals of Vedanta based on Tattvabodha. Tattvabodha is an introductory text by Adi Shankara, which gives the essence of Vedanta and its terminology in a simple question-answer format. Tattvabodha begins with this prayer. Vasudevendra yogendram natva jnanam pradam gurum mumukshu nam hitarthaya tattvabodho vidhiyate. Vasudevendra yogendram. I offer my prostrations to my Guru Vasudevendra, who is the one who gives self-knowledge, particularly to those who are yearning for Paramapurushartha or Moksha. So this teaching of Tattvabodha begins. We have come to the important part of Tattvabodha, where we begin to inquire about my true nature. Who am I? Normally, whenever we say, who am I, we identify with this body. But in Vedanta, there is one important and fundamental principle. That is, I am someone other than the body. This is the first step in Vedanta and a very difficult step. So how does the inquiry go? This is from the quotations from Tattvabodha itself. Tattva vivekaha ka. What is Tattva Viveka? The answer is Atma Satyam. There is only one reality, that is called Atma. Tad anyat sarvam mityeti. Other than Atma, everything else is unreal. Therefore, the whole of Vedanta is an inquiry into asatoma sadgamaya. From what is asat to sat. Asat is my identification with my body-mind. When I am able to move from that which I identify as myself. So therefore, there is a simple definition for Atma. Atma is the immortal, invisible inner essence of all, which is something other than my body and my mind. So we have completed many topics so far in our Tattvabodha classes. We began by understanding what is the universal human problem or samsara. Then we spoke about various purusharthas or human goals. We had a glimpse into our scriptures and the varna and the ashrama, which is a method of helping us to attain to our goals. Then we studied three important sadhanas, what is karma yoga, upasana yoga, and jnana yoga. And finally, a wonderful synthesis of all the three sadhanas in the form of bhakti yoga. In the last class, we looked into what are those qualifications all of us must have, which gives us adhikari, which gives us eligibility to enter into this whole Vedantic program. I'm extremely grateful to Swamiji for having given us these fundamental laws of Vedanta. These fundamental laws are also called the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Perhaps nothing in Vedanta is more important than this fundamental law. And the first fundamental law, which I'm going to insist throughout in this class, is I am other than whatever I experience. I experience my body. I am not my body. I experience my mind, which is trying to explain something. You are also experiencing your mind because you're trying to understand what I'm trying to say. So whatever I experience, I am not. This is the first step, and this is also the most fundamental step. This distinction between Atma and Anatma is also called Drik Drishya Viveka. The second fundamental law I will touch later, not in this class today. So we begin with the Alpha. That is the beginning And this is also the end, the omega, the beginning and the end, and the most fundamental. In the same slide, if you can go back, I have mentioned something like 10 years. Normally, for a very sincere student, a committed student who is into Vedanta day in and day out, it takes about 10 years for this understanding to take place. It may take 10 lives, but one thing is certain. Once you are in the path, you are here to be able to understand these two fundamental laws, because Swamiji insists again and again, these fundamental laws have to be assimilated. If this law is assimilated, Vedanta becomes a walkover. If this is not assimilated, we have to do whatever we can to be able to understand. And the first law is, I am someone other than this body and mind. If I am someone other than this body and mind, then who am I becomes a very relevant inquiry. Now, before we go into this inquiry of who am I, let us understand what is this body, which now we have classified as not me. When you say anatma, which means not me. And according to Vedanta, they say this not me body can be classified as gross body, subtle body, and causal body. When we go to medical school, we study the human body by actually dissecting the human body. And it is very nicely said that when you go to medical school, you study one body, but you get to know every body. In Vedanta, and Vedanta is based on the Vedas, the rishis who compose these Vedas have not actually studied these physical body, but they have intuitively gathered this knowledge. And this knowledge, even in the light of modern medical sciences, cannot be refuted. All those of us who have been into medical science, into neuroscience, and who have studied the Vedanta are more than convinced that there is a certain truth in this classification given to us by the Vedas, as we have not one body, the anatma, not me, my instrument which helps me to communicate, which is called the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body. Now, let us go into details. What is the gross body? Gross body means something that can be perceived by my sense organs. I can see it, others are also can see it. The next question is, how did this gross body form? What is the causation? There are two causes. One is the general cause. The general cause is it is made up of matter, and matter, according to the Vedas, are because of the five elements. And uh, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, and Prithvi. The five great elements are the cause of the body. Then there is a specific cause. Why are some people healthy? Some people have various diseases. Why some people have got different kinds of bodies? Now, our bodies have all been determined by our past karma or our prarabdha karma. According to Veda, this we will learn in a little more detail in Tattvabodha itself. What is this karma? And because of this karma, why I have a particular kind of a body, why others have got different. So our bodies are formed by two important causes. One is by the five elements, which is common to everybody, but my body is different from somebody else's body, and this is determined by our past karmas. What is the function, what the Vedas say about this body? They say it is a means for me to communicate with everybody in order to be able to interact with the world, to be able to experience pleasure and pain. So the body is an instrument. Sukha dukkhadi bhogayatanam. That is the Sanskrit word. That is the function of the body. Now, what is the nature? By nature means this body is constantly subject to modification. That means there are six modifications according to the Vedas. Asti, it has come into being. Jayate, it is born. Vardate, it is grows. Viparinimate, that means it undergoes certain modification. Apakshiyate, it undergoes decay. And finally, vinashyati, it is undergoes destruction or death. So the definition of the gross body in Tattvabodha goes like this. It is a question answer. So the student asks the teacher, Sthoola shareera kim? What is this gross body? Panchikrita. That means it has undergone grossification of what? Pancha Mahabhuta, the five great elements, Kritam. Sat karma janyam. Because of our good karmas, we have got a human body. Sukha dukkadi. Pleasurable and unpleasant experience. Bhogayatanam shareeram. That is the Vedic definition. So, four factors about the human body, gross body. Can I quickly summarize once again? It is made up of the five elements, different components like head, hands, legs, body. It functions as a temporary residence and it is used to transact within the world. It is subject to change. It has got a limited lifespan. It is visible to me and visible to others also. And this is the nature. Lifespan is limited to about 80 to 100 years. This is the story of the gross body. Then we have the subtle body. For example, my mind, my buddhi, my memory, all that comes under the subtle body. What do you mean by subtle? Subtle means it cannot be perceived by others. For example, what is happening in my mind, I only know. So that also I may partially know and it may not be known to others. So this aspect of all of us is called the subtle body. The subtle body is made up of subtle elements, and just like the gross body, it is matter, but not gross matter. It has not undergone grossification. That is why it's called apanchikrita. And it is also because of our past karmas. So same, sukha dukkadi bhogayathanam. So it is an instrument which helps us to contact with the world around. Now, what is the nature of this body? My mind, just like my body, is always changing. One big difference is at the time of death, what happens is only the gross body dies. The subtle body does not die. To take a modern example, it could be like in the early days, like our SIM that has been detached from an older phone and put into a newer phone. The SIM has all the memories of our past. It has all got our past records. It has got an identification. So all that is carried. And the SIM goes from one body to another, just like one phone to another. And how long does it last? Until cosmic dissolution or pralayam. That means the subtle body, my mind, my buddhi, my ahankara, and my memory goes on for a very long time. So what are the constituents? It has got karmendriya, jnanendriya, panchaprana, manaha, buddhi. So five instruments of knowledge, instruments of action, the panchaprana, manas, and buddhi. The five forms of energy, what are they? They are called prana, apana. Prana is the respiratory system. Apana can be breathing out or all the excretory system. Vyana is the circulatory system. Samana is the digestive system. Udana is the reversing system, particularly active at the time of death. The subtle body includes the mind, or what is called inner instrument, or the antakarana. It can be subclassified into four. The mind, which has the doubting or the emotional faculty. In mind, there is also the decisive or the rational faculty, which is called the intellect. In all of us, there is a sense of who I am, this ego that is called ahankara, and all my past memory that is called chitta. These are the four aspects of the subtle body. Now, if I have to give a definition according to Tattvabodha, the student asks, sookshma shareera kim. What is this subtle body? Apanchikrita. The previous was panchikrita. Here is apanchikrita. It has not undergone grossification. Just like the gross body, this is also pancha mahabhutai kritam, made up of the five elements. Sat karma janya, because of my past karmas. Same story. Sukha dukkadi bhogayatanam sadhanam pancha jnanendriyani. That is my subtle body. Now, in one tabular form, the material for the subtle body is the subtle five elements. It has the five organs of knowledge, five organs of action, the pancha prana, manas, buddhi, chitta, and ahankara, or the antakarana. It is like the instrument that helps me to interact with the world. Just like the gross body, it is subject to change. It survives the death and continues into multiple lives until there is a cosmic dissolution. And unlike the gross body, which is evident to others also, the subtle body is evident only to oneself. Now we come to the third body, or the causal body. The causal body is the cause of the gross and the subtle body. That is how it has got the name. If the seed for the subtle body and the gross body is the causal body. Now, according to the law of conservation of matter and energy, matter can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed from one form to another. And therefore, whenever the causal body is when everything comes into an end, it goes into a form of unmanifestation. So that which preserves for the next creation is the causal body. What is its nature? Ajnanam, or total ignorance. There is no subject-object differentiation. For example, in the gross world, I can see myself and I can see all the world around me. This distinction is not there during deep sleep or in the causal body. Now, it is anadi, because it is the cause of everything, and the cause cannot have a cause, so it has to be there from the very beginning. And being the cause of everything, it cannot be the effect. So it is anadi. And being anatma, it is mithya. Now, the gross body dies at the time of death. The subtle body dissolves at the time of dissolution of pralayam. The causal body does not die at all. It is there. It disintegrates only at the time of jnanam for a person who attains to enlightenment. Now, in Tattvabodha, how is the causal body defined? It is defined like this. The student comes and asks the teacher, kaarana shareera kim? Anarvachaniya anadi avidya rupam. All are very technical terms. Maybe in another class I will explain all these. Shareera dvayasya karana matram satvaswarupam ajnanam nirvikalpam arupam yadasti tad karanam shareera. That is the definition of the causal body. Now, in a tabular form, let us see what this causal body. Now, causal body is also made out of causal matter. We had gross matter, subtle matter, and the causal matter. The technical term for that is called avidya. So it is the seed form for the gross body and the subtle body, and it is there from beginningless time. It will continue to be there until dissolution happens at the time of spiritual awakening, when all the karmas get lost. We go to the next topic of what is this Avastha-traya. Avastha-traya is something important to remember for all students of Vedanta, because all the Upanishads, every Upanishad talks about these three states: the waking state, the dream state, and the deep sleep state. The Jagrat Avastha, or the waking phase, the Swapna, or the dream, or the deep sleep, which is also called Sushupti. Now, we have to know three things. What is the condition of the mind? Like, for instance, in Jagrat, the mind is fully awake. In Swapna, it is partially awake. In deep sleep, it is almost non-functional. What is the nature of the experience, and what is the dominant medium? For example, during waking state, it is the gross body. During dream state, it is the subtle body. And in deep sleep, it is the causal body. So that is how we have the three avasthas. In Jagrat Avastha, which is also called Purna Vikasa, The inner organ, the mind and its thinking faculty, the ego and memory, everything is functional, and the person identifies with the gross body. So in tabular form, in tabular, the condition of the mind is it is fully operational. The person is able to interact with the tangible world, and there is an objective sensory experience, and there is a two-way experience. And the interaction or the medium is the gross body as well as the subtle body. Now we come to uh, the second state, or the swapna avastha, or the dream state. In the dream state, as I already told you, it is ardha vikasa. Only whatever is recorded during the waking phase, and that too the deep impressions, these are called the vasanas, become awake during the dream state. It is an internal world, and predominantly only the sookshma shareera is involved. In tabular form, you have that the condition of the mind is ardha vikasa, only partially functioning. It is an inner abstract world based on our memory and vasanas, and the medium of experience is the subtle world. Now we come to the third, or shushupti, or the deep sleep experience. At this time, the mind is almost non-functional. There is no external world, there is no internal world. A person is both blissful as well as ignorant. This is the state of deep sleep. And in deep sleep, this is the condition of the mind, completely dormant mind, a state of both bliss and ignorance, and the medium of experience is the causal body. So, three terms to be remembered. In the waking phase, the experiencer is called Vishwa. The experienced universe is called Virat. In deep sleep, we studied this in the Mandukya. Taijasa is the experiencer. Hiranya Garbha is the world of the dream world. Prajna and or Antaryami or Ishvara. Last topic is about Panchakosha. Panchakosha is the same as the three bodies, but the the three bodies which help us to, or which cover, the Atma. Atma being the immortal, inner, invisible essence, is all pervading. But for diagrammatic purposes, it is shown as Atma is within. Atma is both within and without. Now, how does this classification differ from the three body? The gross body is the same as Annamaya Kosha, and the causal body is the same as Anandamaya Kosha. The subtle body is divided into three. Pranamaya Kosha, the energy field, Manomaya Kosha, the mental field, and Vijnanamaya Kosha, the intellectual field. And that is how the five koshas are divided. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.